From Gloucester County College, Comcast Sports presents the District 29 Consolations. Good evening, everybody, with Nick Mitchell and Brian Reed. I'm John Mondelli, and a lot of high school wrestling tonight. And Brian, start with you. Paulsboro has already clinched the team title, but a lot of these guys wrestling tonight know if they don't win, especially the seniors, that's it for them.
Well, that's true, John. You know, it's really, at this point of the season, you know, the team championships are over with. Paulsboro has another Group 1 state championship under their belt. And right now, at this particular point in time, you worry about the individual championships and the young fellows that can move along and capture that third place award and get to Absegami. That's all the concentration is right now. These young guys are just looking to move on. You take it one match at a time, and you just go from there, John.
Nick, let's talk about this. You've been in the finals 3 times, wrestling at Gloucester High School, long time ago. But for these guys wrestling tonight in the Consolations, this is big for them because if they win, they get to go to Absegami. What does that mean for a wrestler to advance to the next round?
Well, absolutely. I mean, Glassboro and all these teams that are coming in, some of the teams that may not have many kids into the finals, they have an option here. If they win, they can move on to Region 8. And who knows what could happen, especially with wrestlebacks this year at Region 8. If you place here and move on, anything can happen.
Okay, should be an interesting night of wrestling. We'll have all the action coming up next on Comcast Channel 43. And welcome back to Gloucester County College. We're at 112 pounds, semifinal or a consolation matchup. John Mondelli along with Brian Reed and Nick Mitchell. You'll be hearing Nick throughout the night. And in the finals, I'll be joined by Nick. And what do we have here at 112 pounds, Brian?
Yeah, for Paulsboro, we have Howard Lonsbury, a freshman, toting a record of 12 and 15 against a really tough schedule against Jared Radke. Jared's record is 20 and 6, and he's from Gloucester Catholic.
Tall and thin, Radke is. Chris Lonsbury almost put off a big upset today. Lost 10-8 in the semifinals to the number 1 seed Bobby Bastine of Gateway, and Radke lost an overtime match to Mike Rudley of Pittman, 8-6.
There were some tremendous matches this afternoon, John. These kids were battling for all they were worth because, you know, once you get to the finals, you're getting that trip next week to Absegami. So he was fighting as hard as he could to get to that point, but right now he's up against the tough Paulsboro opponent here.
You try and look at the differences here. Obviously, the schedule that Lounsbury wrestled was probably a little bit tougher, but the better record goes to the Gloucester Catholic wrestler, and he gets the early
takedown. He's trying to utilize those legs, John. Got to get his hips back. He's got an underhook. Lonsbury's right on the line. He would do well just to find that. Have a stoppage for potentially dangerous here. Lonsbury down. 57 seconds to go in period number 1. 2-0 Jared Radke. He is one long drink of water. He's got a cradle on him. He's got it's under the outside shoulder. We got a 1 count, but that's all. Going for the false shoulder. He's looking for a tilt here. This Gloucester Catholic wrestler looks awful sharp.
Absolutely. In control early, 2-0 in the final 30 seconds. Of course, Gloucester Catholic back in District 29.
Absolutely. And Coach Lucas has done a heck of a job this year with Gloucester Catholic. They got a full team, and I'm noticing we're going to see a bunch of Gloucester Catholic guys here this evening in the consolation round.
As we head into the final 7 seconds, still a 2-0 lead for Radke. And that's what will end up 2-0 after the first period. Bill Lucas, as we mentioned, is the head coach for the Rams of Gloucester Catholic. Paul Marina, the head coach at Paulsboro.
Yeah, it was a down year for Paul. I think he had 2 losses against 2 of the powers of the state of New Jersey. Yeah.
One would only hope there's no question who's the number 1 team in the state. We'll find that out in 2 weeks. I hear a lot of talk about Kittatinny, but Kittatinny lost to Hunterdon Central. Hunterdon Central's a team that didn't make it out of their own section in Group 4. Phillipsburg lost to Absegami twice. Absegami also beat Paulsboro. So I will think come the day of the state finals, you're going to hear that Absegami was named the #1 team in the state of New Jersey. We head into the second period, about 20 seconds in, and Jared Radke still with the 2-0 lead. Looks good on top.
He looks exceptionally well on top today. Stretched him out. Another potentially dangerous. The referee stops it, so we're going to get a restart. 1:30 to go here in period number 2. You know, Lonsbury's not out of this by a long shot. If he hangs on here, doesn't give up any back points, usually you'll find your Paulsboro wrestlers, the end of the second period and third period are their times during the match. So this is a long way from being over.
Because Lonsbury's a freshman, Radke is sophomore. This late in the year, though, I think you throw that out. Unless you had a lot of big tournaments, I don't think you worry about that freshman anymore. I think Lonsbury's been through enough big matches where you don't worry about him being a freshman here.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's gone through all the Paulsboro programs, the summer programs, and on paper he's 12 and 15, but he's wrestled an extremely difficult schedule, plus numerous tournaments down at the Deep Creek there, and Phillipsburg and the Absegami. So this kid's been around when it comes to big matches.
Well, Radke's likes using his legs. He's in a little bit of trouble, though, right now, Brian.
Yeah, exactly. If Lonsbury can back out of there, the referee's giving him every opportunity. He's still controlling that wrist, and he's got a half Nelson on. Lonsbury is just about out here. He's got a half himself. Radke's got to stretch him out. 25 seconds to go here in period number 2, and they're going to stop it.
Nice job, though, by Radke to fight that one off. Got himself in a little bit of trouble.
Yes, he did. 2 evenly matched kids here. They want to continue practicing with the big team here the rest of the week. This experience right now, just you'll see Lonsbury and Radke over the next couple of years, just from being out here under these kind of crowds and these kind of conditions. You'll be seeing them in the finals before too long, that's for sure.
Once again, Lonsbury standing up, looking for a stall warning, and there it is. 4 seconds left in the second.
That's a tough time to take a, it drives a coach crazy that 2 seconds to go in the period to give up a stall warning like that.
Ends the second period, still 2-0.
So that's a difficult spot. You know, we teach our kids to be more aggressive and offensive at the high school level, and then as soon as they graduate and they go on to college, we're teaching them to ride, which is just what Jared Radke's doing in this match. Shooting in on a double leg.
Obviously more comfortable on his feet, choosing neutral. Might be a little bit of trouble.
It's like a 2-point takedown.
And in trouble with back points for Lonsbury.
Oh, and that's it! Oh, I'll tell you, Paulsboro's been doing it all weekend, John. It's incredible how they turn these matches around. And Howard Lonsbury, freshman from Paulsboro, moves on with a big turnaround in our first match of the evening at 112 pounds.
Interesting choice, taking the neutral position. And John Voging taught me, you let him up, you take him down. Well, he did him up before it started. 18 seconds it took into that third period. Lonsbury with the win.
That's incredible.
We go now to 125 pounds, which actually we can talk about probably one of the best matches in the afternoon was Jeff Smith of Paulsboro and Jared Mercado of Pittman. Mercado won that match 5-4 in a bit of an upset, the number 2 seed and number 3 seed. We'll see what that does to Mercado as he goes up against James Brodus, a senior. So a couple seniors. Brodus was a 12-7 winner, or lost by pin. In a minute and 2 seconds to Jimmy Rollins, who's the number 1 seed in this tournament, obviously one of the top wrestlers at 125 pounds in the state of New Jersey.
Oh, there's no question about it. Jimmy is in his senior year. He looks, for a senior. I kind of noticed that with Jeff Smith earlier semifinal match. You had an underclassman in Mercado who seemed a tad more relaxed than Smith. Smith was, just a little tight, it seemed. I don't mean nervously tight, but just tight, like, oh, is this going to be it? Is this going to be the end of my career? And he actually had a slight advantage early in that match. But I think by Mercado being loose, he came back and he kind of more or less took the match over at the end of the second period, beginning of the third period, and he held Smith safe there to the end. And that was a tremendous lift for Jared Mercado, who really doesn't have the experience to this point of a Jeff Smith. But this could also be a wake-up call for Jeff.
Sure.
He could come out of this, if he can somehow manage to get out of this match and finish third. I think that Region 8, which is the toughest region in the state at 125 pounds, could really, and the super regions are going to be incredible, he could go right to the head of the class once again.
Well, he was taken down early, and then it was 2-1. Now it's 5-2. Smith on top. And of course, Smith has 3 losses this year, Brian. I'm not sure if you're aware of this. One was a criteria overtime loss. One was a loss to Rollins where he lost 4-3. 10 minutes later, he thought he won the match, and then he ended up losing that, and then he lost again by a point. So his 3 losses have all been by 1 point.
Yeah.
So he's
a veteran of the wars. I mean, he came up in the Washington Township system, and I see they moved over to Paulsboro in the off-season. And he went from one great program. Washington Township had a terrific year this year, and they might be in the top 7 or 8 in the state, and I know they're at least in the top 3 or 4 in South Jersey, to Paulsboro, which is another great program, which is, if not the top club. You'll get arguments all over the place about what coulda, woulda, shoulda during a couple losses this year. But unfortunately, they did happen, and I was reading a couple articles that Paul was saying that he felt maybe the kids were just a little lax in a couple departments this year that kind of maybe kept them from being the #1 team this year. But they'll be back scrapping again next year for sure.
Yeah, you have a lot of talent. Paulsboro has a lot of talent, but everything still has to fall into place. And let's give it credit to Absegami and Phillipsburg. And yeah, like we talked about, how many teams would love to go through the season only losing 2 matches, conference champs, state group champs, and to some people it's a disappointing season.
Yeah, it sure is, and
but that
shows you the high level that these guys hold their standards to. It's Paul expects certain things each year, and he expects that much out of the wrestlers. And I'll tell you, so far in these last 2 days of wrestling, I was here last night. I was here again for the semifinals. The Paulsboro wrestlers look to be in tip-top shape, and they're really wrestling well here in the last 2 days.
Well, 6-2 lead for Smith. Of course, Jeff's brother Dave will be in the finals at 103 pounds.
So I guess Dave's got bragging rights in the Smith household.
Yeah, for the next couple days. Broda's trying the shot, but Smith will back up. He'll try and spin around and get another takedown. So far, he doesn't have it. There's 1:06 left in the second period.
I was talking to Coach Van Lynch of Deptford before we started tonight, and he was really been impressed with the Deptford program this year. He said his team, including this young man right here, is not full of superstars. Not a team full of superstars, but they work together well as a team. They came back and won their last 8 matches of the regular season, and they're real excited for what's going to happen next year for the Deptford Spartans, and that's great to see.
You can see in the background Joe Hollywood in the black shirt with a Spartan on him. He's the head coach. Joe is a first-place finisher, second-place finisher, I believe, and a third-place finisher in the state of New Jersey. An excellent career. And one thing about Deptford, even when they might even just have like a 500 season, they always have a couple really good wrestlers.
Boy, that's for sure. Starting back when I was at school, back in the I don't want to tell you when, there was a couple brothers named Vallejo, who were incredible wrestlers that did everything they could do on a mat. 2-time state champion Jerry and John, a 1-time state champion. They did the Spartans well, and it looks like I don't know if they got anybody of that caliber, but right now they have a good team focus going, and Hollywood seems like he's doing a real good job with it.
Sure, we had a nice chance to see Deptford earlier this year against West Deptford here on Comcast. A match that they beat the defending state Group 3 champs that evening, or that afternoon. 8-2 right now as we head into the third period. Jeff Smith of Paulsboro leading Produce.
The score was 2-2.
Time for a ball and chain here.
30-second flag out, Sun victory.
And the 50 to go here in period number 3. 8-2 Smith. He's pretty much dominated from the outset. Got a stall warning on James Brocious.
Brian, you talked about how strong 125 is in South Jersey. You have up in in Region 7, actually in the same district, Bobby Stinson and Sauer from Sterling. Sauer had already beaten Stinson, but Sauer has been beaten by both Smith and Rollins, and then Rollins, as we said, already beat Smith.
Exactly. I talked to Coach Ross, and it's good to have Coach Ross back again. But I talked to him, and he said the Super Regions, it's going to be a shame that one of those terrific wrestlers is not going to get out of Super Regions, unfortunately.
And of course you have Mercado, who beat Smith. So I mean, it's really
terrific.
tough. That's going to really make another strong showing at Region 8. Might be the same three guys, 1, 2, and 3.
Exactly. Minute to go here.
We're going to have a blood time with 1 minute left in the third period.
Yeah, we got a break here, John. I'd like to tell our folks out in the Gloucester County area and give special thanks to Freeholder Director Steve Sweeney and our golf course liaison Bob Damager, Freeholder Damager, and the rest of the Freeholder board for allowing us to have 100 holes of golf at Pittman Golf Course on April the 9th. This is to benefit the Ken Decken family and also the Jimmy Heenan and his family in their time of need. There'll be more out over the papers and over the TV over the next couple weeks, and there'll be more information about this, but I just wanted to get that in, John. Bob Shryock's our chairman, everyone in the county. If you don't know Bob...
what's wrong with you?
Yeah, what's wrong with you? Oris Wells, PGA professional at Pittman, is also going to be there. Myself and Jim Mahaffey, our chief of police from West Effort.
So anybody wants some more information, they can see any of those.
They can call the golf course at 589-6688, or we'll also have some other numbers where the charities will be funded, and I believe it'll be through the Bank of Gloucester County.
Okay.
So we'll have all that information out within the next couple of weeks, John.
Good call.
Thank you.
We're going to zoom now, 40 seconds left, third period, 8-2 lead for Smith.
The Denver wrestlers never give up, you know, and it's a little early to talk about it, but at 189 pounds, it looked like Brett Holmes had Alexis Aquino, I'm sorry, had him under control, and the Denver wrestlers just do not quit. Unfortunately, in this spot with 20 seconds to go, it looks like an insurmountable lead for James Brochus, and senior Jeff Smith looks like he's going to move on to Absegami here.
Smith just trying to get some more back points here before we run out of time. Won't do it, it doesn't look like. Looks like he'll pick up an 8-2 win. And Jeff Smith of Paulsboro High School will advance to Absegami. We'll take a break. We'll come back after this timeout. And welcome back to Gloucester County College as we get ready for more wrestling. And they're kind of throwing a curveball because I don't have this listed in my match. So we're going to try and find out what weight class we are.
Well, I believe it is the one...
That's 135, okay. Or one, is this...
This is Mr. Van Burl and
this is maybe...
And John Weber. This is the 130-pound match.
So they're going out of order, it looks like.
Yeah, we got sidetracked there a little bit, but this is at Hans Van Burl, who lost to Kyle Mancuso 11-7 in his semifinal bout. And he faces off with John Weber of Clearview, who lost by fall to Eric Lawson of Pittman. Right now, Weber's trying to get control, but that looks like a big 2-point takedown for Hans Van Burl.
Yeah, and Van Burl gave Mancuso a pretty good match.
It was an excellent match.
I mean, Mancuso's 24-1. That was an 11-7 match, nice match. And a nice job by Van Burl.
Yeah, toward the end of the match, he went head-hunting there, and he caught Kyle by surprise, and it was very close to having Kyle, who's our top seed at 130 pounds, and has only got one loss. He's 22 or 24-1 at this point and heading to the finals. But Hans did a terrific job, and that experience will really help this fella. Right now he's got a 2-point takedown, 50 seconds to go. He's attempting a tilt. He's got some back points. They're counting away. It looks like it's at least 3 points. It's difficult to pin somebody from this. He reset. And it's really not a pinning combination per se, but just to keep piling those points up.
I was very impressed this afternoon by Gloucester Catholic. A lot of people, I think, were disappointed when they found out that Kingsway wasn't going to be in this district. But we'll see what happens in the long run, if that was a good move or a bad move. Obviously, for competition, it would have been better to see Kingsway here, better for us. But sometimes that's not what's best for high school wrestling. And Weber looking like he's trying to get the reversal here, at least going to get one.
Yes, he is. We got an escape here. It's 5-1, 15 seconds to go, period number 1. Yeah, it's good to have Gloucester Catholic in. You know, I think over the course of time, all that'll change. It looks like the interest of Gloucester Catholic is at a pretty good pitch right now. So, you know, they get a good 15 to 20 varsity caliber kids out each year. They're going to be competitive around here at District 29.
And if you look at some of the other programs, their football team, that program turned it around the last couple years, had a good season this year. Their baseball team, we don't have to say anything about, number one team in the country.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, they do get the kids there. I mean, sometimes it's just the tradition of winning. You got to win before you can build a tradition. And they get a couple winning seasons. This year they were only 1 of 2 teams in the state of New Jersey in parochial B to qualify, and they lost to St. Augustine in the state finals, which was kind of strange. It was the South Jersey champs and state championship all at one time there. A mild upset, I would think, because I actually thought that Gloucester Catholic would win that.
Yeah. Still 5-1. There's an escape for Van Brill. Makes it 6-1. 1:25 to go here in period number 2. He's in on a single. He's got to get that whizzer in and flatten his hips. The boy from Clearview has got to get him to the mat. Now he should get in the crotch and try to see if he can get a stalemate going. Because he's got himself in a spot now. He can come out the back door. That could be 2. So that'll narrow the margin. And it is 2.
Nice job by Weber there.
Absolutely. 6-3 now the score.
Weber has to watch in this position. He doesn't get himself in trouble. And I didn't get that out fast enough, did I?
No, you didn't.
Reversal, that makes it 8-3 Van Brill.
30 seconds remaining. If Clearview had all the guys that were there 3 or 4 years ago, before some of these transfers occurred, it would be a powerhouse today, I guess. Wouldn't they, John?
That's the way things go.
South Jersey wrestling at its finest.
Yeah.
Here today, going tomorrow.
Of course, if you're wondering what's happening in some of the other matches, like 103, 119, and so on, you'll see those matches after we see all the matches on mat 2. We're doing mat 2. Nikki Mitchell's covering mat 1. Nikki's matches will be on right after all the matches on mat 2 are finished. Then, of course, the finals, I'll be joined by Nick Mitchell, former District 29 champion, 2-time runner-up.
I finished 3rd.
Yeah, you did, didn't you?
I'm proud of myself. Thank you very much.
We'll talk about that controversial decision one time it happened if we get an injury. Weren't you the answer to a trivia question?
Yeah, you might need 2 injury timeouts.
It was kind of complicated, I hear. Of course, Nick Mitchell wrestled for some of those really good Glassboro teams. And back then, Glassboro may have been the 2nd best team in Group 1 in the state of New Jersey, but never got out of South Jersey because of Paulsboro.
Yeah. How many teams could say that? I understand he's helping out down at Kingsway a little bit.
Yeah, helping out with that 7th and 8th grade program.
Yeah.
Some really good numbers and some pretty good freshmen that came in this year.
Peterson here. And this is back points again.
So Van Brill looking pretty impressive.
2 back points, makes it 10-3 with a 1:15 to go here, or 10-5, I'm sorry, with 1:10 to go here in period number 3, with the reversal to Weber. And And we have a potentially dangerous stoppage.
Of course, Weber lost to Eric Larson of Pittman in the semifinals with pinned 3 minutes and 59 seconds. Larson will be going up against Mancuso in the finals.
I got this mixed up here. I got the
50 seconds to go. Period number 3. Of course, you know, sometimes a lot of people think the season's over for the third place finisher, but there are times when somebody drops out, doesn't make weight, or someone has an injury. So those, whoever finished fourth does get a chance to wrestle. Van Brill trying to hold on for 30 more seconds, gets the reversal. He's now up 12-5.
Did a nice job here, battling back. That could be very disheartening to lose a tough match like you do in the semifinals, and you come back to wrestle for third place. It's sometimes it's difficult to get up for that match. But he did a nice job here tonight. 10 seconds to go. We're winding down here.
Of course, wrestling continues Tuesday at Absegami, and
before we get off, then that's the end of the match here. 130 pounds. I believe his dad, Hans, was a district champ, wasn't he?
Pretty good wrestler in his day. The Van Brill's a really big name.
Gateway Gators, yes. And a big win for Hans Van Brill, 12-5 over John Weber of Clearview.
Okay, and of course, your guess is as good as mine. Let's see what's up next. I think because the first match at 103 went overtime, that threw everything off, went a little bit longer, and they don't want the wrestlers to wait around. So looks like we're going to get 140.
Okay.
John Andrew.
And one of the loser of the Saccani Suter match, Brian Saccani, is here in one of the highlight matches of the afternoon's semifinals.
Saccani gets the early takedown. Of course, Brian Saccani is a very good baseball player. We talked about that program over at Gloucester Catholic.
Usually baseball doesn't bode well on the mat, but this guy looks like he can do anything. Yeah,
sometimes good athletes can do well in all sports.
That's true. Just like yourself, John.
Yeah. I'm still trying to find my calling. I don't know what that is yet. I'm sure it's out there.
Did you wrestle, by the way?
Well, here's the deal. To make a long story short, I would have been an unbelievable, people looking at me now won't believe this, but I would have been an unbelievable 98-pounder. Even in my senior year, I could have made it 98 pounds. Seriously? Which means I've doubled my weight. But at St. James, we did not have wrestling. So.
And now there's no St. James.
But however, there is a Doug Kugler from Woodstown who was the last wrestler to ever wrestle at St. James. And he's #1 seed in District 39, has 1 loss this season, having a good season. Meanwhile, at 140, it's 2-1 in favor of Saccani, and he's getting another takedown. Might get some back points. Doesn't look like it right now, though.
John Andrews toting a record of 8-7.
No takedown either.
For Clayton. He lost by tech fall to Mark Cartello, the top seed from Clearview, in the semifinal round.
There's Saccani. He is strong. Of course, Saccani was up 5-0 earlier today against Trevor Suter. Suter called him 5-5, then it was 7-5, and then Suter pinned him. But he's having his way so far with Andrew.
Boy, he sure is, and he's got him stuck.
22 seconds left in the first period, and there, thought he had it right there. Andrew doing his best to fight it off.
He's showing a lot of heart here. 10 seconds to go here, period number 2. Or period number 1, I'm sorry. Got ahead of myself, Johnny.
7-1 lead. That's how we'll end the first period. I'm sure the people in Paul's were look at Brian Saccani and think there's one that got away. Saccani from Gibbstown.
He was one of the few. People are moving from other areas to get down in that area of the county, I think. Aren't they, for wrestling?
So I hear. Yeah. I think that just goes to tell you a lot about your program.
Absolutely.
I mean, a lot of times you hear about transfers. I don't think it's much transfers. It's, you know, kids and parents see programs that are good. They think their kids have, you know, a talent. And where can they best achieve? And obviously in wrestling, it's a town like Paulsboro. I mean, you see it all the time in the Catholic schools in basketball, and even in the public schools in basketball. I don't think it's as much the coaches are going out getting the players or the wrestlers. It's the other way around.
No, I don't think it's that. I think you know, you get to the realization. I know back when we were in school, it was a big deal to be a 3- and 4-letter guy in high school and participate in all the activities, which is fine. But today it seems like guys are specializing in certain sports, and when you specialize in something and you're looking for a little financial aid, maybe down the road, if you have that ability, you want to go to the best programs, and that's where these young athletes are going to migrate to. And I can't say as I blame them for
Absolutely.
it. It's all done right.
Sure, I mean, college, just only knowing, because I have a son as a junior, knowing how much college is, if you can get any kind of money, scholarship money, or any kind of a chance to advance, that's the way to do it.
Exactly. Saccani's holding a 7-2 lead here with 1:15 to go in period number 2. He looks comfortably in front. Shoots single, high bag, switches to a double, to a takedown.
9-2 lead.
Looks very impressive. I think he can make some noise in Region 8.
Sure. And I tell you what, that's another program, Gloucester Catholic, going to Region 8 after being at Region 7 for the last few years. Of course, one thing about 140 when you get to Region 8, Brandon Becker, Kingsway, is having just a monster season this year.
Yeah, he came out of the blocks running this year.
Sure, winning that Beast of the East, and actually last year, I mean, placed in the States. He had 31 wins last year, and there you see the Brain Trust over at Clayton. Dan Antonelli, former wrestler over at Delsey.
Injury timeout here on mat number 2.
.32 seconds left in the second, 11-2. Oh, Brian Saccani, we talked about Gloucester Catholic, their coach, Bill Lucas. I believe his son was a district champ from Woodbury High School.
Bill's done a terrific job. I remember he wrestled around my era, I believe, back at Woodbury High School as well. Did a terrific job back then when Woodbury was a power. As the numbers dwindled, they had to hook up with Gateway to any of the young fellows that were in the Woodbury area had to get a bus trip over to Gateway High School if they wanted to continue their wrestling careers. And it's worked out. Gateway's got a nice program coming back up again this year. I also see former District 29 grappler P.J. Ryan had a terrific year at Gloucester County College to, I believe he got All-American status.
Yes, he did. So did, of course, Billy Gibbs from Clearview was a junior college national champ.
That's just a terrific job done by Billy. I mean, what he's done in the last 12 months is just incredible. Another double leg, got to set him down easy to his back. Got to make sure those supporting points are down. He seems to be dominating the match now. 10 seconds to go, period number 2, 13-3 in favor of Brian Saccani. That's 15-3.
15-3 now. 1 second, it's over.
We're getting awful close to a tech fall here in this match.
After 2 periods, second period ends. It's 15-4 now. Score changes. We're checking the score, see if they get it right. No question on what the score is.
Still questioning.
Okay.
Everybody satisfied?
They have it right, 15-4. Saccani gets out. Question is it 1 or 2? 1.
Getting to neutral.
16-4.
Good call by referee Tom Reynolds. I believe he was another Woodbury High grappler.
Mr. Reynolds now involved in law enforcement. Was very good to him today. 18.
Yeah, be very nice to Mr. Reynolds. Yeah.
Absolutely, 18-4 with the takedown. Saccani will probably try and turn him or just let him go and get one more takedown. That'll end it. And that's what he's trying to do now. Let him go. 18-5 takedown. I'll give him a tech fall.
Very impressive here, Brian Saccani. He's in on the single, trying to switch it to a double. Out of bounds, still neutral. 1:20 to go here in period number 3. We have 18 for Saccani and 5 for Andrew. Looks like we have another possible injury.
Injury time.
I believe it's his shoulder.
Andrew Askin. Yeah, we talked about Gloucester Catholic baseball. Saccani, a member of that team. Number 1 in the country last year. Not too bad.
Not too shabby.
They had the South Jersey Player of the Year, and Mark Michael. By the way, also from Gibbstown.
Sounds like you had season tickets to the Gloucester Catholic baseball program.
Got to know what's going on. As we see some of the crowd, big crowd here. We're probably still at least 45 minutes to an hour away before the finals start. Can't fit many more people in.
Yeah, District 29 has always been great as far as the fan support, and now after losing such a big fan base like Kingsway, I was really curious as to see how that would be made up. And the Gloucester Catholic, they have a big following out here, and Glasper is always starting to come back. The Pittman has had a nice program this year. It's on the upswing, so you have a nice crowd out here tonight.
Saccani going for the takedown. If he can pop his head, he'll get the takedown. He got the takedown. And that'll end at 20-5, the final score. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more action from District 29 after this timeout. And we're back at Gloucester County College. Consolation at 152 pounds. And 1 through 4, Brian, this might be the toughest weight class with Tony Caruso, Clearview, Floyd Taylor, Clayton, Tommy Giorgiani, Paulsboro, and Brian Zeckman from Gateway. An upset earlier today. Taylor was the number 2 seed, loses to Giorgiani 7-5. So it'll be Floyd Taylor from Clayton going up against Brian Zeckman of Woodbury. Interesting styles for both of these wrestlers. And both wrestlers seniors. If I'm a senior and I lose this match, lots of hamburgers, lots of cheesesteaks, lots of pizza, lots of milkshakes.
You stop at the nearest pizzeria, there's no question about it. I remember those days. Floyd Taylor was our number 2 seed here. Lost in a difficult match to Tom Giorgiani at Paulsboro. I believe this is one of the Woodbury, the young Woodbury wrestlers that is now in the Gator program.
Sure. Zeckman was a big Woodbury name.
Absolutely. Two evenly matched young wrestlers.
Zeckman gets the takedown and the 2-0 lead. One minute left, period number 1.
You see, Zeckman lost to top seed Tony Caruso in a very good bout, 12-6, and it was a lot closer than that score indicated. It was down to like 2 points with about a minute to go before Tony Caruso was able to control the remaining 30 seconds to that match, but he did a great job.
Yeah, Zeckman has 20 wins, 5 losses this year. Taylor 15-3.
There was some grumblings early in the year that I heard that Mr. Taylor might have been moving to over in the West Everett area.
I heard those rumors. I did hear those rumors.
But I guess that didn't pan out, and he likes it where he is. There's a big escape for Floyd Taylor with 19 seconds to go. Brian Zeckman over Taylor 2-1.
I'll tell you, Dan Antonelli has done a great job the last 3 years turning that program around.
Incredible. Coach of the year last year, wasn't he, for District 29?
Yeah, Antonelli and Paul Marina.
Absolutely. You're considering it wasn't that long ago, I don't even know if they had wrestling. Did they, Clayton?
I'm not really sure of the history, but I just know that they took their time and they built the program. And, you know, if you get a couple winning seasons, kids see it. And then they want to join in, and I think that's what's happening at Clayton.
Mat number 1, 189 pounds.
2-1 lead as we start the second period for Zeckman. Zeckman on the bottom.
Gloucester Catholic, Brad Cole, West Zeckman, on deck, Mat 1. Result for mat number 1, 145 pounds.
Taylor has to watch out.
Gloucester Catholic, run by Paul and Brian Burton.
Taylor's very unorthodox, strong, as that we have a stoppage there.
Stalemate. 29 seconds into the second.
Zeckman still down. Two evenly matched wrestlers here, John.
And that's what I said. If you look at this weight class 1 through 4, I think you had 4 really good wrestlers, and obviously someone's going to lose. We're tied now, 3-3. Zeckman trying for the takedown.
Going to go back to that semifinal match with Giorgiani. I think it was the fact that Giorgiani's in the Paulsboro room that was the difference in the last 30 seconds of that match. We have a spladle here by Taylor. He's got Zeckman in a very difficult spot. 2 back.
And now it's a 7-3 lead, so a nice comeback by Taylor. He trailed early.
30 seconds remaining, 7-3. Taylor over Zeckman.
And we have a stalemate.
Well, you know, it's time to throw whatever you have, you know, in your bag of tricks. It's time to use all of them right now, because it's 1 and out if you're on the losing end of this this consolation round.
A little shoe control, a little tying of the shoes. First Gateway, Gatebury, Woodway, what, Gateway? We call it Gateway.
Yeah,
Coached by
Woodway.
Greg Bauer.
Yeah, we have a new rule with the tape situation to make sure that this doesn't happen. I guess we're going to bypass that and take care of business. Strap them up, pull the knee pads up. 24 seconds remaining here, period number 2. Floyd Taylor on top of Brian Zeckman, 7-3.
Zeckman gets out, 7-4. I'd like to get some points here before the end of the period. He's shooting. Coming for the takedown.
Nice aggressive shot. This is where he got stuck in the spladle last time, but he's got a little better advantage here if he can get his hips up. This Taylor is strong. He did the same thing. If he can trap that leg, Zeckman's got to get his hips down, and that looks like a quick 2 for Zeckman. No.
Nothing.
No.
Nothing.
Oh,
He's checking for help.
The refs
from
are looking at
Reynolds.
one another.
He's checking for help. That's why you have the other official there. We'll see if he gets the 2.
It's a big call.
2 points. He got it. 7-6.
I have to agree with him, John.
And I think once they went over to Tom Reynolds, you knew the 2 was going to be given. Two minutes left to wrestle.
Then he got a lock in hands. See, my feeling was, in a spot like this, and I'm in that situation, I let the wrestler up. Now all he's done is increase the lead for Floyd to 8-6. Now it's too late to let him up. So I would have let him up, gave him the 1, and got the neutral, but Zeckman looked very good on his feet. I think he could have taken advantage of that.
We'll see what happens here. I think after a while, if he can't turn him, he's got to let him go and try and play the takedown game with him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I think Taylor's so strong, he's going to have a very difficult time trying to work any pinning combinations. And all this is doing is running the clock. I would actually let him up now before too much time went by. He can kind of catch his breath, lay on the line.
And I think if you're a wrestler at this point, you know what you can do and what you can't. I mean, if you're going through 2 periods already, you know if you're stronger on your feet.
Right here, I think the coach has got to get with him. Still nothing from the corner. So I would have released him there because still, even if he takes him down, he gets nothing. So it's still an 8-6 lead for Floyd, and Floyd's still down. See, I would have released him at that point, John.
Well, I keep looking over if they tell him to go for that freestyle start, and I don't see it yet.
The Gateway coach, Greg Bauer.
Yep.
Is that the former Lenape?
Absolutely. Burlington County.
Terrific wrestler. We got a minute to go here, and time's running out on Brian Zeckman's season. And we're getting the coaches are standing, and we might have a decision now. He looks like he's going to call for the
Bauer talking to his assistant Joe Howard, trying to figure out what they're going to do, and there we go.
Yep. I think they wasted about 40 seconds deciding that, though, unfortunately.
56 seconds. It's now 9-6.
Now Taylor can afford a takedown and still not lose the match.
Right.
So it's a Pete DiBiase theory. You remember Pete's always big on
let him go.
Let him go and keep yourself out of trouble and stay on your feet. And that theory does work quite a bit.
Zeckman in on the leg. We'll see what happens if he can take him down.
And there's a Whizzer, fights him off.
Nice job by Taylor. Beautiful job, and he'll get the takedown. 11-6 lead, and pretty much in control now with 25 seconds left.
Looks like an insurmountable lead. He's going to lay right on the line. Clock's running down, 19 seconds. 15 to go. The referees are going to restart him. 11-6 lead for Floyd Taylor. Zeckman had a nice season at 20-5. Taylor.
There's the escape. It's 11-7, but he needs a throw. 2 into his
that's
back.
How you do it.
He tried, and that's what happens. You got to go for those big moves. You get caught. Final score: Floyd Taylor of Clayton 13-7 over Brian Zeckman of Gateway.
Zeckman had 2 brutal matches. He'll sleep good tonight with a belly full of food, I'm sure. And a nice job, nice comeback by Floyd Taylor after a disheartening loss earlier this afternoon. And he'll move on to Absegami next weekend.
Go to 171. We have Mike Pirano of Gloucester Catholic. He's a senior. 22 wins and 6 losses. Jason Hatchell of Clearview is 22-5. Hatchell lost to Frank Coyne of Pittman. Meanwhile, Pirano had to go against the #1 seed, Isaac Redmond of Paulsboro.
Redmond looks sharp today. Yeah, Coyne, I see, only had 11 matches coming into the district tournament. And that was because of injuries or another problem, but he had a very short schedule. But he came out and looks like he's ready to go in this. As the state tournaments wind down here at the end of the year, Coyne has got his A game together, but he fights a tough component tonight in Isaac Redmond.
Coyne won that match against Hatchell 5-2, and Hatchell quick to the leg. Very aggressive. Looks like he wants to try and end his early. He has a 2-0 lead.
You know, as a 2 seed, I'm sure he's coming in here saying, you know, I got to get my game back on straight here. That wasn't me this afternoon. I'm better than that, and I'm going to show it here in the consolation round. And just take that semifinal round as a little bit of a fluke, and maybe he can go on from here. He's got to back out of there to get one.
think Hatch is trying to give him the one. It's now 2-1.
If you're confident on your feet, you really don't want to get down on that mat and get. I mean, there could be front heads and inside cradles that can happen so quickly and get yourself in trouble. So back on out of there and get a fresh start, and you're a lot better off for it. Brano's in on a single on the edge of the mat. He could switch it to a double at this point and getting back to the circle. He's close. That's close to 2. If he can pop the head.
No points.
No points there. 2-1. 38 seconds to go. Jason Hatchell in front.
You know, Brian, you talked about that. Let the guy go and start back on your feet. You see that a lot more since the tech fall came into play. Back when you wrestled, back in the old days.
Thank you very much.
But did you see that as much?
Well, we had riding time back then. So it was a whole different format,
sure.
You know. And riding time, it's interesting. And you know, if you watch any of the college now, it's just as interesting to see how difficult it is to hold a person to the mat for any length of period of time, and it should be rewarded for it. But now it seems like when we do, it turns into an instant stall and a restart and getting stall warnings, and it ends up causing more problems, I think.
Yeah, we had a chance to do a college match over here at Gloucester County College a couple weeks ago. You don't see the stall as much, the riding time. It's another factor because, you know, you can anticipate that point or not anticipate that point. That's why you see a lot of the high-scoring matches here in high school.
For sure. You know, I had the opportunity. My wife and I made some trips down to Absegami for 4 or 5 of their matches here at the end of the year for the groups, and when they wrestled Phillipsburg and Sterling.
Oh, you're front running, huh?
Well, that's my buddy Gene. Gene graduated the same year as me, and we're good friends, and I was wishing Gene well. And that was some terrific wrestling. I'll tell you, he had those young boys, they were peaking at the right time. But you'll notice that his boys are just incredible on their feet, and they don't think twice about letting somebody up with the confidence they have. You know, their first 6, 7 weight classes especially are just terrific, and the young black at 189 is the same way. He'll let you down. The matches are 25-10. You know, it's just incredible how that wrestling has changed to this point.
Well, we're 3-3 here, second period, 1:33 left.
Very competitive. Twosome going at it. A little golf terminology.
Yeah. So nice job by Mark Paranto, because early on, Hatchell had the early takedown, and now he gets another takedown. He got the back points, and he's looking for the kill right here. 1:16 to go. It's a lot of time to be on your back, but nice job by Paranto trying to turn.
Nice job.
And now Hatchell's in a lot of trouble. Big turn of events here.
And he has got the half deep, and he fought off his back nicely. It's going to be tough sorting this one out.
And I'm sure we'll have a discussion over points and back points, and
Yeah, I believe
I'm sure
you're
we're
right.
going to go to the scorer's table right here.
A little clarification on the scoring.
I believe Hatchell's still going to be winning. Looked like he had his man pinned, and it looked like he was going to be pinned.
Yeah, it was about a 9-point swing in about 15 seconds. There was a reverse back point. There was a reverse, and then there was a reverse back point. And then it was a reverse again.
Yeah, you sit right there. They'll give you a medal.
3-3, and I think each guy had 5. And then
help you at the table with the medals for second.
I think they hit the over.
Was that third place? Was that second place? Was that first place?
We're going to throw them up to 17 points. There we were talking about high-scoring matches. We never had this back when I was in school. 5-4 was an incredibly long, high-scoring match when I was in school. Thank goodness those days are behind us.
it's interesting. My neighbor gave me a program from the districts in 1967 and 68, and I was looking at some of the scores, and it was, like you said, those scoring matches, and you see that a lot in college too.
I mean, you saw a lot of 1-0s, 2-1s. Yeah, you could ride back. I mean, there was fellas that had 5 minutes riding time. You know, but it was just as exciting. You know, the scores were so close. It was just like it is today. I think the dual meets were a little. I'm not going to say they were no more exciting, but it seemed like it was more fan support at that time. wrestling needs a little kick here as we get into the year 2001, because I see a lot of the fan support. It's migrating to those expert teams, it seems, you know.
Right.
And other than that, you don't get much of a turnout.
No.
You go to some gymnasiums, there's just the parents and parents only.
10-8 in favor of Hatchell as we have another break. Looks like a contact maybe came out.
Okay.
Yeah, I do know that if you go to Paulsboro, that gym is always crowded. And they have their own supporters and people that have followed that program for a long time. And there's some other matches I went to. It's like you said, you see about 20, 30 people. It's just the parents.
And some good clubs too.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm still following them. Obviously, my son was in it a couple of years ago. But we still, my wife and I still follow the wrestling. We enjoy it. I mean, this is athletics at its, grassroots. I mean, these are two guys. That's it. There's nobody else out there. They can't throw you a rope.
Okay, we'll take a break with 13 seconds left in the second. Jason Hatchell out in front, 10-8. 13 seconds left in the 171-pound consolation. 13 seconds, I should say, in the second period. Jason Hatchell out in front, 10-8, over Mark Peranto of Gloucester Catholic. And we'll finish 2 periods with that 10-8 score.
Between these two wrestlers, they got 44 wins, so these are two tough kids right here.
And Hatchell, that's a pretty good record for a sophomore.
Absolutely.
He'll be around a couple more years.
Star on the rise, John. He hits the camps this summer, hits the weights. He's a big boy for a sophomore.
10-9, 1-point match.
I don't think he'll make 71 next year.
No.
10-9, great match.
Next takedown, obviously big. We're a 1-point match.
Coach Lucas is up. This is about as much enthusiasm as I've seen out of him today. He's really pumped for this guy. He's usually he has a quiet demeanor, just shouts instructions, but he's into this match.
Hatchell, double leg.
Gonna pop the head.
Toronto doing a nice job to fight it off, though.
Doing a very good job. Far side switch. This is usually where you can look, if he can get him to his hip, he can look for that spladle, which is what he's trying to do. We might get a stalemate too, John. They're both tied up, and that's what we got. We got a stoppage, 56 seconds to go, period number 3. 10-9.
As we see Jason Hatchell, had a chance to see Clearview earlier this year against Delsey in a dual meet. This one Delsey ended up winning.
Delsey had another solid year this year.
Yeah, actually gave Kingsway a pretty tough match. Kingsway winning the Tri-County Royal Division this year.
Well, I'm sure they have a lot of matchups tonight down in their new district.
Sure. About 10 years ago, I remember that district used to be the strongest district, was Vineland. Remember when Vineland used to be a really tough team? Buna, Pennsville.
That's right.
Delsey, Millville.
We got a stall warning here.
Against Gloucester Catholic. Can't be stalling when you're down a point in the final 30 seconds.
And on a single.
Needs a takedown.
Yes, he does, and he's in deep. He's doing all he can. What a great match here.
Hatchell showing his strength, though.
Fighting him off, laying on the line. That's what you do with a 1-point lead with 15 seconds to go. Find that outer circle. Keep motion, keep motion.
Warning against Clearview. Not going to be enough time. 3 seconds, 2, 1. Hatchell. Jason Hatchell advances to Absegami.
Now wrestling on that number 2, 215-pound consolation.
Now we have the 215 consolation.
Mike Fanfarillo.
And this will be an interesting one, Brian, because Mike Fanfarillo
Number 2.
is 20. I guess it was what do they call that? A forfeit?
It was a medical forfeit.
Does that count as a loss on his record?
I believe it does. You have to continue the match, so I believe that would count as a loss.
So he's now 22-4. He went out. They just lifted Mendenhall's hand. Fanfarillo was injured. He doesn't want to risk injury. Didn't want to risk any further injury. Senior never had a chance to make it to regions. This is his chance. If he can get through the consolations, he'll get to the regions for the first time. However, his opponent, John Neal, is pretty tough. 21-4 on the season. Neal out of Gateway.
Another Gator. He lost by fall to second seed John Hatchell of Clayton. Two young wrestlers sparring here, trying to find an opening early in the match. Winner eats, and the winner will eat a little bit. The loser really eats. So this is one will go home and rest easy. The other will still be having those sleepless nights for the next week or so.
Well, you know, if you're Neal and you do lose, you can't eat because Fanfarillo is injured and his ankle isn't ready on Tuesday. Then Neal will get called into wrestling.
Yeah, he's got to be on standby.
But that's if Fanfarillo wins. Neal right now is the early takedown and the 2-0 lead. I'll tell you what, before he got pinned, he didn't look too bad. I mean, granted, it was only in the first period, but he was in that match.
Looks like he believes he has a little blood here. We're going to get a blood injury timeout. 1:18 to go, period number 1. And John Neal holds a 2-0 lead.
Of course, if you're just joining us and you're wondering what's going on, how come you're missing some matches, Nick Mitchell will have the even matches or the odd matches. It started out that he was going to have one, and now he has the other. But Nick Mitchell will fill in with the rest of the matches, and then Nick will join me a little bit later, and we'll have the finals. Of course, next week, John Vogening will be back, and we'll have the finals. Actually, consolations and finals from Absegami.
That's always exciting down there. Do you go down for those, John?
Yes, I do. Well, I definitely go down on Saturday all day, and depending on my schedule, having some kids who are still involved in athletics, they usually have events on Friday night, so I try and make their events. My son and daughter. So I'm usually at what they do. I think they have soccer games, believe it or not, still this time of year.
That's great. Soccer's great.
Oh, yeah.
Great sport.
It's good for me because I have trouble sleeping at night, so it's like Salmon.
Are they also in the band or anything?
No, actually no. No, it's like 11 months of soccer.
Oh, I know. My children did the same. You go from one field to the other.
Absolutely. But anyway, after the region, CN8 will pick up the state wrestling finals. And then a couple days after the state finals, we'll be out of Paulsboro, Vogening and myself, for the Delaware versus South Jersey All-Star meet.
Well, that's always a terrific meet. Might see a couple of these guys there, huh?
Definitely for seniors only. So depending who's the class of the field at that weight class, if it's another classman, these guys might have a chance.
And what is the criteria for that? Is there a select committee that selects?
Well, I believe it's whoever places the highest has first shot. And there is a weight allowance since the season's over. And actually, Delaware's season, I think, would have been over a couple weeks before we're done. So, from what I heard, Delaware gets together and they practice for a couple weeks as a team to get ready for the match. And if you look at the results, it doesn't help them too much.
And this is at Paulsboro High School?
This year it's at Paulsboro. It rotates every other year. It's Jersey and then Pennsylvania. I believe at one time it used to be at Collingswood, but it's been at Paulsboro.
Sam Corson. Collingswood High School wrestling coach for years.
2-1 lead for Neal, doing a nice job. I think we have some more blood. So we wait for the second period to begin. I think Dean Sizemore does a lot with that all-star meet. What's interesting is that thing will be in Delaware next year, and Paulsboro, who had that big group of 4 freshmen come all in at one time, will be seniors next year. And unfortunately for them, the match will be in Delaware, because that would be kind of a nice little send-off for them to have their last match in all-star meet at Paulsboro. And that's not writing anyone off. Don't mean to write somebody else off who might come in next year and knock them off, but the way they're wrestling right now, they're favorites to be there next year. 2 minutes. So we get ready to start the second period. John Neal of Gateway with the 2-0 lead.
2-1 actually. We had
2-1, that's right.
Yeah.
Over Mike Fanfarillo of Glassboro. You know, here I have an interesting stat from Glassboro. You know, their 1993 team that lost to Paulsboro, I think, in a South Jersey Group 1 final. Team finished 20-2. Every wrestler on that team in 1993 ended up going to college.
That is a great stat.
It is, isn't it?
That's terrific.
I mean, I don't know if that's ever happened before.
Exactly.
Maybe Bishop Eustace. Because if you spend all that money on tuition, hopefully you are going to college.
Yeah.
Second period, 13 seconds in. Neal on the bottom.
Goes to locking hands, but he didn't. Got to keep moving. Get off his base.
Nice and physical. 21 seconds. We'll see the same thing, Fanfarillo. We'll see how long he tries to work from the top position or decides to let Neal go.
There's no question. That's
you gotta watch that you don't get reversed.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Fanfarillo doing a nice job holding on. They're not giving up the 1 or the 2 yet. Still in control. Now has Neal on his back.
Oh, he's got him stuck. This
Nice
could be
move.
That could be it, John.
1:13 to go.
That's a long time on your back.
And
He fights
Neal
off for a reversal.
So I'm guessing it's 6-4, or at least 5-4, or 4-4. We have 4-4 on the scoreboard.
56 seconds remaining here, period number 2.
Yeah, I got the 3 back, so that made it 4-2, and then a 2 reversal.
Exactly. Got a contact problem?
Or he may have gotten poked in the eye, it looks like.
Another injury timeout.
So Fanfarillo trailing 2-1. Did put Neal on his back, got the 3 points, took the 4-2 lead, but Neal came right back with the reversal and tied it up at 4.
That really rarely happens. He was fortunate to catch John Neal on the spot there, and he locked it up. And once he saw that opening, though, he locked it up quickly.
Yeah, because it looked like Neal was going to get the reversal, had a 2-1 lead, and was going to get the reversal for a 4-1 lead. And Fanfarillo stood his ground, put him on his back.
He just laid those hips down, and I'm really surprised that Neal was actually able to fight off his back. He was really in a tough spot.
That was a nice job by Neal, because everybody thought minute 13 on your back like that, that's an eternity.
Yes, it is.
56 seconds left in the second period. After this match, Nick Mitchell will take care of the rest of them, and then we'll be back for the finals.
Starting to warm up in here a little bit.
No, the air conditioner was working pretty good earlier. Oh, you don't mean that, do you? Oh.
No, I don't.
A little air conditioning here. 56 seconds left, second period.
Got a cradle, and he's got it awful tight. But now he's sitting down on it. And at this weight class, that's difficult to hold it from there. Possible 2 back and a reversal. And an escape. No, it was an escape then. So we got 6-5. I guess he had 2 back and an escape.
Yeah, Farillo doing a nice job battling back. Some blood. Clean up off the mat.
Surprised there wasn't more. I mean, we've sailed right through these consolations. Wasn't too many pins, though. Did we have any pins up to this point?
I don't think so.
No pins to this point.
It's one thing the truck keeps track of is pins.
They're very good at that.
Absolutely.
How do they know that sitting outside?
They receive the Gateway bench. Take a look at the Gateway coaching staff. Greg Bauer standing up, and Joe Howard sitting down. Howard, a long-time assistant at Gateway. 6-5 lead with 14 seconds left. Mike Fanfarillo of Glassboro.
Getting a little sloppy here. 5 seconds to go, period number 2. He's in deep, but too late. Very competitive 215-pound Consolation.
2 minutes to wrestle. Neil's in the position he wants to be.
Absolutely. And this is another spot where you could think about letting them up. Oh, and it was locking hands. I don't think the referee caught it. His hands definitely touched. He almost did it again.
I think with the 6-5 lead, though, I try and stay on top.
Yeah, not a bad. I mean,
unless I'm hit for a stall call.
Okay.
Then I probably let him go.
Well, that's why you're a soccer guy.
But if they don't hit me, well, we'll say what I'm saying might come true. Then we'll say.
Okay.
But don't give him the point if you don't have to. Of course, if you're getting sloppy, don't give up the 2. And I think that's the danger. I guess that's what you're talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Very close here. I think John Neal's got to throw some sit-outs together, you know, some hands. He's got to control the wrists. He can't just fly up like that. He's at this weight, 215, Fanfarillo's just going to use his body weight and that near ankle and control this match from here. Something's got to give, either a stall warning or something to get this match, get it going again. And I think if you're Fanfarillo, you might think about throwing a leg in, possible leg ride of some sort.
There's the escape. We're knotted up at 6. So it'll come down to a takedown. If not, we'll have overtime. 2 evenly matched wrestlers, both seniors. Both looking for their high school wrestling careers to continue.
And they both have over 20 wins, so 2 tough wrestlers right here.
The number 1 seed in this weight class, Paulsboro's Mike Mendenhall, who is unbeaten.
And Mike's had a great career. He's got another year, doesn't he?
Absolutely. Paulsboro's, if you look at, actually Paulsboro will have someone in the finals from 135 pounds on, which is pretty impressive.
That's very impressive.
And from 160 on, they're all underclassmen, so they'll all be back if they choose to.
Yeah, don't feel sorry for Paulsboro and their 2 losses. They'll come back.
6-6 with 42 seconds left.
Something's got to give here. 35 seconds to go in the match. 6-6. I don't believe we've had any stall warnings.
No, as a matter of fact, I was kind of waiting right there to see what happens because I really haven't seen any kind of aggressiveness.
Yeah, this is the point in the match where I think the referees are going to back up a little bit and let the wrestlers decide who the winner's going to be. I don't think you want to get involved with influencing the end of it.
Well, I think if a guy's stung and you don't call it, you're influencing it too. But I guess neither wrestler's showing the initiative.
No.
But the last couple times I've seen Neil shooting and Fanfarillo, so we'll see what happens. There's Neil. He's got 10 seconds. He's got to get that leg and get behind. Question is there enough time?
Got the whizzer in. Holding the whizzer.
Nice job by Fanfarillo. We'll have overtime. They got to go right to the center, no break. I don't think they hear me. Theoretically, you're not supposed to have a break. Right to the center of the mat.
This is it. 6-6. 2 minutes on the clock. Who wants to go to Apsigami? Yeah, we could be 6-6 after this period as well, John.
Right, and then it comes down to that 30-second ride out.
Exactly. Coin toss is everything at this point. Jim very quiet now, waiting for the finals. It's our last match going on right now.
Neal again. Nice. Fanfarola trying to fight it off, doing a nice job. He's just got to keep hold of that leg. But Neal, all he has to do is spin around. He'll get the takedown. There it is.
And that'll do it.
8-6, overtime win for John Neal.
Big comeback win for Neal.